There comes a moment, not always loud or dramatic, when everything quietly shifts, and no one else sees it. It's not when the world celebrates you or when the lights shine on your name. No, it's in a quiet morning. When you're standing in front of the mirror, looking into your own eyes, and you finally ask, am I really showing up as the man I'm meant to be? Not the man others expect, not the version that tries to impress or please, but the one deep inside you, the one you've silenced with excuses, distracted with noise, and delayed with the illusion of someday. That moment, that question, is where everything begins. You see, most people wait their whole lives for the perfect moment, the right timing, the sign, the permission, but no one tells you. You are the sign. That ache in your chest isn't fear, it's truth. Knocking. The question is, will you open the door? The world doesn't owe you anything. It never has. No one's coming to save you, not your boss, not your parents, not even the people who love you most. It sounds harsh, but it's not meant to hurt. It's meant to set you free. Because the second you realize that, you stop waiting, and when you stop waiting, you start moving. Every day you wake up with a choice, to rise or retreat, to act like a man or act like a boy. And trust me, acting like a man isn't about being hard, it's about being honest. It's about stepping into responsibility even when it feels heavy, especially when it feels heavy, because that weight, it's yours for a reason. The people who depend on you, your family, your partner, your friends, they don't need you to be perfect. They just need you to show up. But if you keep showing up late for your own life, you'll never show up fully for theirs. It's easy to hide behind pain, to tell yourself you're tired, that you've been through too much, that you deserve to rest. And you do. But rest isn't the same as retreat. You're not meant to escape life. You're meant to engage with it, fully, boldly, gently, fiercely, even when it's messy, especially when it's hard. Because here's the truth. No growth happens in comfort. If you want to become the man who provides, protects, and inspires, you have to start with the man in the mirror. Let me tell you something hard but healing. The world doesn't care how you feel. It cares what you do despite how you feel. Read that again. That's not cruelty. That's freedom. You're not here to feel good all the time. You're here to become good. Good at leading. Good at listening. Good at fighting for what matters. And good at knowing when to let go. Pain is not your enemy. Excuses are, because every time you make one, you surrender a piece of your potential. You choose delay over destiny, and you weren't made for delay. You were made for this moment, right here, right now. You don't need another plan, another affirmation, another YouTube video. You need action, small, quiet, consistent. You need to do what most won't. Show up when no one claps. Train when no one's watching. Get back up when no one's helping. That's how men are built, not overnight, but in shadows, in silence, in sacrifice. You already know what you need to do. It's been whispering to you for a long time. In the late nights you can't sleep. In the mornings you hit snooze. In the gut feeling that tells you, this can't be all there is, and it's not, but here's the catch. You don't become the man you were meant to be by thinking about it. You become him by acting like him. Right now, before you feel ready, before you're sure. That's where it all begins. It's easy to believe the world owes us something. Recognition. Opportunity, a second chance. A little bit of grace for all we've been through, but the truth is, no one owes you anything, not your boss, not your partner, not even life itself. It sounds cruel until you realize. That's what makes it powerful, because if no one owes you anything, then you don't owe anyone your excuses either. You're free. Free to stop waiting, free to start building, free to stop blaming, free to start becoming. Let me ask you this, if success were handed to you today, would you truly feel like you earned it, or would a part of you always wonder, did I deserve this? There's something sacred about the struggle, about earning your ground, about fighting for your peace, instead of begging for comfort, because when you fight for something, It becomes part of you, and no one can take that away. But let's be honest, it's exhausting sometimes. Working in silence, trying while others relax, pushing forward when you see no reward. There will be days when you want to scream. Why is no one noticing? Why is this taking so long? Why am I always the one trying harder? I hear you. I've been there, but that's the test. That's the fire, the one that purifies, that separates the committed from the curious. We all want the reward, but do we want the grind? Everyone wants to feel proud. But few want to feel the pain that builds pride. People will envy your results someday, but they'll never see the hours you gave up, the weekends you sacrificed, the lonely nights you kept going, the discipline you kept. When no one was watching, they'll say you're lucky, but you'll know the truth. You weren't lucky. You were willing. You see, the world doesn't reward intentions. It rewards action. It rewards persistence. It rewards people who keep going, long after motivation has run out. So stop waiting to be motivated. Start deciding to be disciplined. Discipline is what gets you out of bed. On the days your heart feels heavy, it's what makes you show up. When your soul feels tired, it's what separates the talkers from the doers. And listen, you will feel alone sometimes when you're trying to better yourself, when you're letting go of old habits, when you're chasing something no one around you understands. You will feel lonely, but you know what's lonelier? Living a life that was never really yours, waking up years from now, realizing you traded greatness for comfort, potential for ease, your future for approval. That is a heartbreak that doesn't heal. So if you feel like no one gets it, keep going. You're not here to be understood, you're here to become. Not everyone will get it, and they're not supposed to. Your journey is sacred, it's personal, and you don't need applause to make progress. You just need one thing: to show up. Show up when you don't feel ready. Show up when you feel behind. Show up when your legs shake and your mind whispers, "You're not enough." Show up anyway, because every time you do, you rewrite the story of who you are. Here's what they never tell you: you don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You don't have to be fearless to be brave. You don't have to be sure to take the first step. You just have to stop waiting for permission. Let go of the idea that life is supposed to be easy. It's not. But that's what makes it beautiful. The resistance is the gift, because it's the pressure that builds muscle. It's the fire that hardens steel. It's the challenge that wakes you up. If life never tested you, you would never discover what you're made of. So if you're in a hard place right now, don't run from it, lean into it. Let it sharpen you. Let it break the parts of you that were never real to begin with. Let it carve out the man you're meant to be. And one day you'll look back, not with bitterness, but with gratitude, because the fire didn't destroy you, it forged you. No one owes you a thing, but that doesn't mean you're empty-handed. You have grit, you have heart, you have responsibility, and most of all, you have a choice, every day and every moment. You can choose to rise, not because it's easy, not because you're ready, but because that's who you are becoming. This is your life. You don't get a second one, so stop asking for a lighter load and start building a stronger back, because you can carry more than you think. You can do more than they expect. You can become more than you believe, but only if you stop waiting and start doing. Act like a man, not because the world demands it, but because your future deserves it. You were not born to be average. You were not born to coast through life. You were born to build something that matters. And that begins with you. Let me be honest with you. Motivation is fleeting. It comes when the sun is shining, when the energy is high, when life feels light and exciting. But when it's 5 a.m., your body aches, your inbox is full, and your heart is heavy with doubt. Motivation disappears. It doesn't knock on your door to remind you of your goals. It doesn't whisper, "You've got this." No, it's discipline that shows up in those moments. Quiet, steady, unshakable, and that's the difference between those who talk and those who transform. See, most people are waiting, waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel excited, waiting for motivation to knock before they begin. But here's the truth no one wants to admit. If you only act when you feel like it, you will never build the life you want. Growth doesn't ask for your mood. Purpose doesn't wait for your energy. Greatness doesn't care about your comfort. It cares about one thing, your consistency. So what does discipline look like? It's not always loud. It doesn't announce itself. Sometimes it looks like silence. Like saying no to things that drain you. Like choosing the hard way even when no one is watching. Like getting back to work after failing again. Discipline is boring, unsexy, repetitive. It feels like no one notices and they probably don't. But here's the secret. Discipline is what changes your life quietly, before it shows results publicly. Most people give up not because they're weak, but because they're impatient. They plant a seed on Monday and expect fruit by Friday. But life doesn't work that way. Transformation is slow. Healing is messy. Building anything meaningful takes time, and that's where discipline comes in. It tells you, keep watering. Keep showing up. Keep moving forward, even when nothing seems to change. Because eventually, it does. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who trained every day. He wasn't the fastest, not the strongest. He didn't have a big following, or a coach cheering him on. He just showed up, day after day, when it was cold, when it was quiet, when it was hard, and after years, people began to notice. They called him talented, they called him lucky, but they missed the truth. He wasn't special, he was consistent. That's how it works. The world sees your breakthrough, but overlooks your process. It praises your result, but forgets your repetitions. But that's okay, because you're not doing this for applause. You're doing it for who you become, and becoming someone takes discipline. There will be days when it all feels pointless, when you wonder, why am I even trying? When nothing moves, when no one claps, when your mind screams. Just rest, just stop, just one day off. And on those days, you'll have a choice. Give in to comfort, or give everything to consistency. That choice defines your future, because it's not the good days that build you. It's the hard ones, the ones you survive in silence. The ones you walk through tired, broken, unsure. But still walking. Don't let the small voice of doubt outweigh the quiet strength of discipline. And don't confuse comfort for peace. Peace comes from alignment, from knowing you're living the way you said you would, from keeping the promises you made to yourself. Comfort is different. It numbs, it delays, it feels good, but it takes your drive, your clarity, your power. So no, you don't need to feel inspired today. You don't need motivation. You don't need more time or a perfect plan. You just need to decide. I will show up even when I don't want to. Because discipline is love in action. Not love for the task, but love for your future self. You may not see the result today, or tomorrow, or even this month, but one day without warning, you'll look up and realize you've become unrecognizable, stronger, sharper, more grounded, more resilient, not because you had more talent, but because you had the courage to do the work when it wasn't glamorous. So stop chasing the highs, build your habits, let the world call it discipline. Let your soul call it devotion. You're not building a moment, you're building a life, and that kind of life is earned, no shortcuts, no hacks, just you. And the choice to show up again, even when you're tired, even when you're scared, even when no one is clapping, even when the voice in your head says it doesn't matter, because it does. Every hour, every step, every repetition, it all counts. And one day, you will too. There comes a time in every man's life when the world stops protecting you and starts testing you, not to break you, but to reveal you, because who you really are. isn't found in your comfort, it's found in the chaos, in the fire. And here's the truth most people never want to hear: the fire is coming. Not maybe, not if, it will come: the loss, the rejection, the betrayal, the silence. The storm you didn't expect. It's not a question of if. It's a question of when, and who you'll become inside it. Pain has a way of stripping everything away. Except what's real: your image, burned, your ego, shattered, your excuses, ashes. All that's left is your soul, raw, honest, unfiltered. And it's in that fire where most people quit. They say this is too much. They sit in the ashes. They wait for someone to rescue them. Or worse, they tell themselves, maybe I was never meant for more. But not you, not anymore. You're not in the fire to be destroyed. You're in the fire to be forged. Steel is forged in heat. Diamond is formed under pressure. And men are made in the furnace of adversity. If you run from the fire, you miss the very thing that was meant to strengthen you, to refine you, to strip away the fake and leave behind the fearless. But hear me. It hurts, and it's okay to admit that. This isn't about pretending to be strong. This is about choosing to stay standing, even when your knees shake, because the fire doesn't demand perfection. It demands presence. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to look impressive. You just need to show up inside the flames and stay there long enough for it to do what it was meant to do: burn away the boy and build the man. There will be days when it feels like life is against you. Nothing goes right. Everything falls apart. You question everything. Am I strong enough? What if I fail again? Why is this happening to me? But maybe it's not happening to you. Maybe it's happening for you. What if this season, this pain, this weight, this storm isn't here to punish you, but to prepare you? What if the fire isn't your enemy, but your teacher, teaching you how to stay calm in chaos, how to lead when no one follows, how to believe in yourself when nothing gives you a reason to? The fire reveals the gaps, but it also reveals your grit, your heart, your hunger. Not everyone walks through it. Most turn back. They settle. They tell themselves it's safer outside. But those who rise, they are the ones who say, let it burn, let it hurt, let it shape me. And as you walk through the fire, you'll start to notice something. You stop fearing pain. You stop fearing judgment. You stop fearing failure. Because once you've survived the heat, you no longer settle for lukewarm. You don't want an easy life anymore. You want a meaningful one. You want to look back and say, I didn't avoid the fire, I walked through it. And I came out stronger, forged, not broken. And when you emerge, you won't be the same. You'll speak differently, stand differently, move differently, not with arrogance, but with peace. The kind that only comes from being tested and still standing. You'll stop chasing validation, because the fire already confirmed what you needed to know. You're still here. You didn't quit. You didn't burn. You rose. That's what a man does. Not because he feels brave, but because he refuses to let fear lead. Not because he never fell, but because he always got back up. And not because the fire didn't hurt, but because he let it heal him. Let the fire forge you. Let it refine you. Let it burn away everything you're not, so you can become everything you are. You're not being destroyed. You're being defined. So breathe through the burn. Keep walking. Eyes forward, heart open. And when the smoke clears, you'll know you didn't just survive, you transformed. Let's pause for a moment and breathe. You've come a long way, from the hesitation of Chapter 1, to the honesty of Chapter 2, to the consistency in Chapter 3, and the fire of Chapter 4. Now, we arrive here, not at the end, but at the beginning of something greater, because once you've walked through the fire, once you've felt your excuses melt, and your weakness fall away, you don't go back to who you were. You start to understand something deeper. You weren't built just to survive. You were built to lead, to impact, to create a ripple that outlives you. This is not about success anymore. This is about significance, about legacy. So what is legacy? It's not a plaque, not a title, not the money in your account, or the awards on your shelf. Legacy is the story people tell about you when you're not in the room. It's the values you pass on without speaking. It's the strength your children feel when they face their own fire. And remember that you faced yours and didn't quit. It's the way you love with courage, work with integrity, stand with humility, and never let life harden your heart. The world doesn't need more noise. It doesn't need more empty hustle or show. It needs men who live with purpose, who rise not for status, but for service, men who show up not to prove their power, but to share their strength. Because when you rise, you don't rise alone, you lift others with you. You create space for others to believe they can too. That is legacy. But here's the hard part. Legacy isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the shadows. In the moments no one claps for. In the choices you make when no one's watching. It's built on the mornings you wake up tired, but still choose to show up. It's built when you say no to easy, and yes to meaningful. It's built when you act with discipline. Long after motivation fades, every quiet choice, every private sacrifice, every small act of consistency. It matters. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to decide, right now, who you want to become, because you are becoming someone every single day. The question is, are you becoming the man you admire, or the man you settle for? That choice is in your hands, so start building your legacy today with one honest decision, one small act of courage, one more step forward, not because it's easy, but because it's right, because deep down, you know this life is too precious to be lived on the sidelines. You know that excuses don't honor your gifts. That fear doesn't feed your future. That comfort never leaves a mark. You were made for more. And now, you're ready to claim it. Let your story be one of resilience. Let your scars become your strength. Let your journey become someone else's map. There are people watching you, not for perfection, but for permission. They need to see someone choose integrity, someone choose growth, someone choose the narrow road, so they can believe it's possible too. Be that person. This is your life. This is your time. No more waiting, no more hesitating, no more looking back. You've faced the fire. You've embraced the discipline. You've taken responsibility. Now, you lead not by shouting, not by proving, but by living your truth every single day. And when the day comes, years from now, when you look back on this moment, this quiet decision to act like a man, you will smile, not because it was easy, but because it was worth it. Every sacrifice, every tear, every hour no one saw, it all meant something, and it became everything. So don't just live, leave a legacy. Build the kind of life that echoes, that speaks even after you're gone, not through fame, but through faithfulness. Not through perfection, but through persistence. You have one life, one shot, one story to write. Make it one that matters. This is not the end. This is the call to act like a man, to show up, to lead, to love, to rise not just for you, but for all those